Samsung is back with another ultra budget smartphone, and this one might surprise you more than you would expect. This is the Galaxy A07, Samsung's cheapest new Galaxy phone right now, starting at roughly 100 euros over here in Germany. Now on paper it looks very basic, but Samsung actually upgraded quite a few important things this year. So the big question is simple: is the Galaxy A07 just cheap, or is it actually good enough to recommend? So let's take a closer look. The Galaxy A07 sits at the very bottom of Samsung's A series lineup, and yes, it's fully plastic. You get a plastic back, plastic frame, and a simple flat design all around. But surprisingly, it doesn't feel cheap in the hand. At just 7.6mm thick and 184 grams, the phone is fairly slim and lightweight, especially for a device with a 6.7-inch display. The back has subtle vertical stripes that add a little bit of texture to it. One very welcome upgrade this year is IP54 protection, meaning that Galaxy A07 is protected against dust and water splashes, something you almost never see at the price point. It's not waterproof, but for everyday use, it adds peace of mind. On the front, the Galaxy A07 comes with a 6.7-inch PLS LCD display with a 720p resolution and a 20:9 display, and pixel density is only about 262 ppi, so text and icons don't look particularly crisp. That said, Samsung did upgrade the refresh rate to 90Hz, and that makes a noticeable difference. Scrolling through menus, social media, and even basic animations feel smoother than on last year's model. The phone can also drop down to 60Hz when idle to save battery. Brightness, however, is a weak point. In my measurement, I reached about 450 to 470 nits, which is fine indoors but not great outdoors. Colors are a bit washed out, contrast is limited, and viewing angles aren't amazing either. This is clearly a budget display, but for basic use, it gets the job done. So the Galaxy A07 has a single bottom firing speaker, and it performs about as expected. Loudness is rated as good, with clear mids, almost no bass, and some distortion at higher volumes. It's okay for videos and calls, but not much more. On the plus side, Samsung kept the 3.5mm headphone jack, which is great to see, and there's also FM radio support. Biometric security comes via a side-mounted fingerprint scanner built into the power button, and it's fast and reliable. You can even set it to unlock only when you physically press the button, which helps avoid accidental unlocks. One area where the Galaxy A07 actually does very well is the storage. You can get it with 64, 128 or even 256 gigs of internal storage, paired with up to 8 gigs of RAM depending on the version. More importantly, Samsung switched to UFS 2.2 storage, which is significantly faster than the old eMMC storage used before. On top of that, there's a dedicated microSD card slot, so you don't have to sacrifice a SIM card to expand storage. There's no NFC though, so mobile payments are off the table. Out of the box, the Galaxy A07 runs Android 15 with Samsung's One UI 8 on top. This is one of the biggest highlights of the phone. The interface is clean, smooth enough, and very familiar if you used a Samsung device before. You don't get advanced AI features or flagship extras, but for everyday tasks, One UI still offers a lot of customization. Even more impressive is Samsung's software promise. The Galaxy A07 is guaranteed to receive up to 6 major Android updates, which is almost unheard of in this price range. That means this phone could realistically stay updated for years. Powering the Galaxy A07 is the MediaTek Helio G99, which is a 4G chip, but noticeably better than what Samsung used before. In benchmarks, this phone scores around 394,000 points in Antutu, which places it squarely in the middle of the budget segment. Day-to-day performance is decent, especially thanks to the faster UFS storage, apps open reasonably quickly, and basic multitasking is fine. However, with lower RAM variants, you may notice the occasional stutter or reload when switching between apps. This phone is not built for heavy gaming, but casual games run fine at lower settings. Thermals are also excellent, with no throttling or overheating during longer sessions. The Galaxy A07 is equipped with a 5000 mAh battery, and endurance is solid. In my test, it achieved an active score of around 12 hours, which is respectable but not class leading. You can comfortably get through a full day of use, and light users may even stretch it to 2 days. Charging is kept at 25 watts, and there's no charger included in the box. With a compatible Samsung charger, you can reach about 40 to 45% in about 30 minutes, while a full charge roughly takes 1.5 hours. On the back, the Galaxy A07 features a 15 megapixel main camera. In daylight, photos look okay for the price. There is a decent detail, although Samsung relies heavily on sharpening, which can make textures look artificial. colors are sometimes slightly off, and dynamic range is limited, but results are usable for social media. Portrait mode is hit or miss. Subject separation is decent, but exposure can vary a lot depending on lighting. A 2x digital zoom is available, and while photos remain usable, they lose detail and become noticeably softer. In low light, the automatic night mode triggers reliably. Photos are surprisingly clean with controlled noise and acceptable dynamic range, though they are still soft and lacking fine detail. A 2x zoom low light shots are noisier but still usable. The 8-megapixel selfie camera delivers decent results. Skin tones look natural, but detail and dynamic range are limited. It's fine for video calls and casual selfies. Video recording is limited to 1080p and 30 frames per second over here in Germany. Quality from the main camera is just okay, with soft detailed yellowish colors and limited dynamic range. There is no optical or electronic stabilization, so handheld footage can look shaky. Low light video is better than expected for its class, but still nothing special. So is the Galaxy A07 worth it? Surprising, yes, for the right user. This is not a flashy phone, and it has plenty of compromises, especially the low resolution display and average cameras. But Samsung nailed the basics. You get solid performance for the price, long software support, expandable UFS storage, good battery life, and even IP54 protection. If you're looking for a super cheap secondary phone, a first smartphone, or something reliable for everyday tasks, the Galaxy A07 is definitely worth considering.